AITA for walking out of the hospital after finding out who was in the car with my wife? I never thought I'd be the guy typing this out with shaking hands at 3 a.m. in a cheap motel room, but here we are. I'm 44, and I've been married to Sarah, who is 42, for 19 years. We have 2 kids, a 17-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter. Up until 48 hours ago, I thought we were that boring, stable couple all our divorced friends secretly envied. We had the house, the dog, the shared Google Calendar, the whole 9 yards. 2 days ago, Sarah told me she was driving up to the state capitol for a 2-day conference. She works in pharmaceutical sales, so these trips are routine. I helped her pack the car. I kissed her goodbye. I told her to drive safely because it was raining. She looked me in the eye, gave me that smile I've woken up to for nearly 2 decades, and said, "I love you, Mark. I'll call you when I get to the hotel." 6 hours later, I got the call. It was an ER nurse. My stomach dropped through the floor. She told me Sarah had been in a wreck on the I-95. A semi-truck clipped them, and the car spun out into a ditch. They were at a hospital about 2 hours away from our house. I didn't hear much after the word accident. I just asked, "Is she alive?" "She's stable," the nurse said. "She has a broken femur, a concussion, and some lacerations, but she's conscious. You should get here." I drove like a maniac. I terrified myself. The whole way there, I was bargaining with God. Just let her be okay. I don't care about anything else. Just let Sarah be okay. I was thinking about how I'd take care of her, how I'd set up the guest room downstairs so she wouldn't have to use the stairs, and how I'd make her favorite soup. I was the terrified, devoted husband. I burst into the ER waiting room and slammed my ID on the desk. They buzzed me back immediately. When I reached her curtained-off area, she was groggy, hooked up to IVs, with her leg in a cast. She looked terrible, bruised and swollen. My heart broke. I rushed to the side of the bed and grabbed her hand. "Sarah? Baby?" She blinked at me, her eyes unfocused. "Mark?" "I'm here," I said, tearing up. "I'm right here. You're going to be okay." She squeezed my hand weakly. Then, she closed her eyes and mumbled, "Is Gavin okay?" I froze. Gavin is her work husband. He's the guy she's worked with for 6 years. The guy I've had over for BBQs. The guy whose wife, Elena, I've made small talk with at Christmas parties. Sarah always told me Gavin was just a friend, a mentor, a brother figure. I've been jealous in the past, but she always made me feel crazy for it. She'd say, "You're insecure, Mark. He's happily married. We're just a team." "Gavin?" I asked. "Why would Gavin be okay?" The nurse was checking the monitors behind me. She chimed in, trying to be helpful. "The gentleman in the passenger seat? He's in Trauma Bay 3. He took the brunt of the impact on that side. Broken ribs, collapsed lung, but he's stable." The room seemed to tilt. "Passenger seat?" I looked at Sarah. She was drifting off again as the meds kicked in. "Sarah, why was Gavin in the car?" She didn't answer. She was out. I turned to the nurse. "Was anyone else in the car? Was it a work thing?" The nurse looked at her clipboard, then at me. Her expression shifted from professional sympathy to that pitying look you give a dog with 3 legs. "Sir. The police report says it was just the 2 of them. Personal vehicle." "Did they have luggage?" I asked. My voice sounded robotic. "Yes. Several bags. And. She hesitated. "Personal effects were bagged up. Do you want hers?" She handed me a clear plastic bag. Inside was Sarah's purse, her watch, and her phone. The screen was cracked, but it was buzzing. I took the phone. I know her passcode, it's our anniversary. Or it was. I typed it in. Wrong passcode. I tried it again. Wrong passcode. My blood turned to ice. She changed it. She never changes it. We had an open phone policy, or so I thought. I looked at the lock screen. There was a text message preview from Gavin, office building emoji, using the little office building emoji to be subtle, I guess. The text read, "My wife thinks I'm in Chicago. As long as you didn't tell Mark about the detour to the B&B, we are in the clear. Can't wait to be inside you." The timestamp was from 8 a.m. Right after she left our driveway. I stared at that cracked screen. I read it 5 times. Inside you. The detour to the B&B. The lies. I looked at my wife. She was sleeping, looking so fragile. 5 minutes ago, I would have died for her. Now, looking at her, all I felt was bile rising in my throat. The image of her and Gavin. The years of he's just a friend, the gaslighting. I put the phone back in the bag and set the bag on the little rolling table. Sir? The nurse asked. The doctor will be in shortly to discuss surgery for the leg. I'm leaving, I said. The nurse blinked. What? Sir, she's going to need someone to sign off on. Call Gavin's wife, I interrupted. He's in trauma 3. Maybe she can sign for both of them. Sir, you can't just leave your wife here. She's not my wife anymore, I spat out. She's Gavin's problem. I walked out. I walked right past the security guard, through the automatic doors, and into the rain. I got in my car and I drove. I didn't go home because the kids were at school and I didn't want them to see me like this. I drove to a motel 10 miles away. I've been here for 2 days. I haven't answered my phone. It has been blowing up with calls from the hospital, then Sarah's parents, then Sarah herself once she woke up enough to realize I was gone. I sent one text to my kids telling them mom was in an accident but stable, and that grandma was going to pick them up. I called Sarah's mom and told her to deal with it. Now the adrenaline is wearing off and the guilt is creeping in. I left my injured wife alone in a hospital. Everyone is calling me a monster. Her mom left me a voicemail screaming that I'm a heartless bastard and that whatever happened, you don't abandon family in a crisis. Do I go back? Do I pack her shit? I feel like I'm going insane. Update 1. It's been 5 days since the accident. I'm back in our house, but it feels like a stranger's house. The comments on my last post were a mixed bag, but mostly people told me to lawyer up and secure my finances. Thank you to the people who told me to breathe. I haven't done much breathing lately. After I posted that from the motel, I turned my phone off for another 6 hours. I drank cheap whiskey and stared at the wall. When I finally turned it back on, I had 47 missed calls. 15 from Sarah. 10 from her mom. 3 from my son. The calls from my son snapped me out of it. I can't hide in a Motel 6 while my life burns down. I have to be a dad. I drove home. Sarah's mom, Linda, was there with the kids. As soon as I walked in the door, Linda came at me like a banshee. Where the hell have you been? Sarah is in surgery. She's been crying for you. What kind of man leaves his wife to die? I looked at my kids. My 17-year-old son looked scared and angry. My 15-year-old daughter was crying. Linda, get out, I said. Excuse me? This is my daughter's house. It's my house. Get out. Or I call the police and have you removed for trespassing. I need to talk to my children. Something in my face must have told her I was on the edge, because she grabbed her purse. I'm going to the hospital. You better pray she forgives you. She slammed the door. I sat the kids down. This was the hardest thing I've ever done. I didn't give them the gory details. I just said, Mom is going to be okay physically. She broke her leg. But Mom and I are going to be having some serious problems for a while. I need you to know I love you, but things are going to be different. My son, who is sharp as a tack, asked, was she with that guy? Gavin? I looked at him, shocked. Why do you ask that? Because he's always texting her, he muttered. I saw her phone light up with hearts from him like a month ago. I thought. I didn't want to say anything. That broke me. My 17-year-old son knew before I did. Or maybe he just wasn't in denial like I was. I told them I had to handle some things. I went into our bedroom, the bedroom we've shared for 15 years, and I started digging. If you think the text I saw at the hospital was bad, it was just the tip of the iceberg. I fired up the old laptop Sarah uses for work backup. It was logged into her iCloud. She hadn't changed the password there. I spent 6 hours reading. It wasn't a one-time mistake. It wasn't a detour. They have been sleeping together for 3 years. 3 years. I found emails booking hotels for conferences that didn't exist. I found photos. God, the photos. Selfies of them in bed. Photos of them on dinner dates while I was at home heating up leftovers for the kids. But the worst part wasn't the sex. It was the way they talked about me. Gavin, is he still whining about the kitchen remodel? Sarah, yes. He's so useless. He thinks he's an architect but he can't even pick a tile. I need a real man. Sarah, I can't stand him touching me. I just close my eyes and pretend it's you. That one made me throw up in the wastebasket. Literally. I sat there on the floor, wiping vomit off my chin, reading my wife telling her lover that she's repulsed by me. The hospital discharged her yesterday. Her mom brought her home because I refused to go pick her up. When she hobbled in on her crutches, looking pitiful, she tried to play the victim. Mark? She called out from the hallway. Mark, please. I can explain. I walked out of the office. I didn't help her. I stood 5 feet away. Explain what, Sarah? Explain the B&B? Explain the 3 years? Explain why you pretend it's him when I touch you? Her face went white. She almost fell over. You went through my laptop? You crashed the car while sexting your lover, I said. I went through everything. I know about the trip to Cabo you said was a leadership retreat. I know about the burner credit card. She started crying, ugly, heaving sobs. It's not what you think. It started as a friendship. We got lost. It was a mistake. A 3-year mistake? A mistake is forgetting to take the chicken out of the freezer. Fucking another man in our bed while I'm at my mom's funeral, yeah, I found those dates too, Sarah, is not a mistake. It's a choice. She tried to reach for me. Mark, please. I'm hurt. I'm in pain. I don't care, I said. And I meant it. That's what scares me. I looked at this woman I've loved for half my life and felt absolutely nothing but disgust. You're sleeping in the guest room. The only reason you're in this house is because the kids need to see their mom. But do not speak to me. Do not ask me for help with your leg. Ask Linda. Or better yet, ask Gavin. She flinched. Gavin is in the ICU. Good, I said. I walked away. I'm sleeping in the master bedroom with the door locked. She's sobbing downstairs. I have a meeting with a divorce attorney tomorrow morning. But before that, I have one more stop. I found Elena's number in the phone book. I'm meeting her for coffee in an hour. She thinks Gavin was on a solo business trip to Chicago. She has no idea he's in a hospital 2 hours away with a collapsed lung. I'm about to ruin another life today. But honestly, I want to burn it all down. Update 2. I met Elena. It was devastating. I thought I would feel vindicated, or maybe righteous. Instead, I just felt sad. We met at a Starbucks halfway between our towns. She's a nice woman, a teacher. She looked tired. When I sat down, she smiled tentatively. Mark? Sarah's husband? I haven't seen you since the Christmas party 2 years ago. Is everything okay? You sounded so urgent on the phone. I didn't know how to start. I just pushed the folder across the table. I had printed everything, the texts, the emails, the hotel receipts. Gavin isn't in Chicago, I said. She looked confused. What? I just texted him this morning. He said the signal was bad in the conference center. He's in St. Jude's Hospital, I said. He was in a car accident on Tuesday. Her hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God. Is he okay? Why do you know this? Because he was in the car with my wife. The silence that followed was heavy. The cafe noise seemed to fade out. She stared at me, her eyes searching my face for a joke. Open the folder, Elena. She opened it. I watched her life fall apart in real time. She read the first page, then flipped through the photos. Her hands started shaking so hard the papers rattled. She stopped at a picture of them on a boat, the leadership retreat in Cabo. That shirt, she whispered. I bought him that shirt for his birthday. He said he lost it at the gym. She started crying, but silently. Tears just rolled down her face. They have a baby? She asked, pointing to a text. I froze. What? I hadn't seen that. I grabbed the paper. It was a text from Sarah to Gavin from last year. I got my period. False alarm. We don't have to worry about an abortion. No, I said quickly. No baby. Just a scare. Elena closed the folder. She took a deep breath and wiped her face with a napkin. When she looked up, the sadness was gone, replaced by a cold, hard rage that matched mine. He told me you were abusive, she said. My jaw dropped. What? Gavin. He told me for years that Sarah was in a loveless marriage with a controlling narcissist. That he was just supporting her. That you checked her odometer and didn't let her have friends. I laughed, a bitter, dry bark of a laugh. Sarah told me you were frigid and that Gavin was depressed because you wouldn't touch him. We stared at each other. 2 dupes. 2 idiots who believed the people who were supposed to love us. My car is in my name, Elena said suddenly. The car he crashed. It's in my name. Okay? And his health insurance is through my job. She stood up. I'm going to the hospital. Not to hold his hand. To cancel his policy and report the car stolen. You can't report it stolen if you gave him the keys, I said, trying to be the voice of reason despite my own anger. I gave him keys to go to the airport for a flight to Chicago, she said, her eyes flashing. I didn't give him permission to drive my car to a sex B&B with your wife. Unauthorized use. Go get him, I said. She left. I went home. Sarah was on the couch, leg propped up. She looked like she'd been crying for days. Good. Mark, she said. Please talk to me. I met Elena, I said. Sarah gasped. She actually tried to stand up and fell back down. You told her? I gave her everything. The photos. The texts. The Cabo receipts. She knows about the abortion scare. Sarah's face twisted. You bastard. You vindictive prick. Why would you hurt her? This was between us. Between us? I shouted. There hasn't been in us since you started fucking Gavin. You dragged him into our marriage, so I dragged his wife into the divorce. You're ruining his life. She screamed. He has kids. You ruined his life. You ruined our kids' lives. I got right in her face. You care more about protecting Gavin's reputation than you do about your own husband. That's all I needed to know. I packed a bag. I told the kids I was staying at the motel for a few more days until I could get a temporary custody order or get her out of the house. My son looked at me and said, Dad, don't leave us with her. That killed me. I'm not leaving you, I said. Pack your bags. We're going to Grandma's. My mom, not Linda. So that's where we are. Me and the kids at my mom's house. Sarah is alone in the house she wrecked, with a broken leg and no one to wait on her. My lawyer says we have a strong case for me keeping the house and majority custody, especially since the kids are old enough to choose. I feel hollow. But at least I'm not crazy. Update 3. It's been 3 weeks. The war has begun. Sarah isn't going down quietly. Since she realized I'm not coming back, and that Gavin is likely getting divorced too, she has switched from begging forgiveness to scorched earth. She filed a motion claiming I abandoned her while incapacitated and that I kidnapped the children. My lawyer laughed at it, but it's still stress I don't need. The real update is about the money. During the discovery phase, we found out exactly how much the affair cost. You know that kitchen remodel we couldn't afford 2 years ago? The one she said we had to put off because money was tight? She funneled $15,000 from our savings into a separate account. She used it to pay for an apartment rental for Gavin for 3 months when he and Elena were having a rough patch. She literally paid for her lover's bachelor pad with our family savings. When I showed this to my lawyer, he actually whistled. Dissipation of marital assets, he said. We're getting that back. But the emotional toll is getting worse. My 15-year-old daughter is struggling. She misses her mom. Sarah has been blowing up her phone, telling her that Dad is trying to erase me and everyone makes mistakes. My daughter came to me crying yesterday. Dad, is Mom really a bad person? She says she just fell in love. How do you explain to a 15-year-old that falling in love isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card for lying for 3 years? I sat her down. Honey, loving someone isn't the problem. Lying is. Stealing is. Mom made choices that hurt us. I'm not trying to erase her, but I can't be married to someone I can't trust. But will you ever forgive her? No, I said. I couldn't lie to her. I won't. Meanwhile, I heard from Elena. She actually went through with it. She dropped Gavin's stuff off at his parents' house in garbage bags. Gavin tried to call me once. I answered. Mark, look, man to man. Don't, I said. We need to get our story straight for the lawyers, he said. His voice sounded wheezy. If we admit to the affair starting 3 years ago, the alienation of affection lawsuit. I'm not coordinating shit with you, I interrupted. I hope Elena takes you for every penny. I hope you enjoy your broken ribs. I hung up and blocked him. The most satisfying part? Sarah's job found out. Not through me, I didn't have to do a thing. Apparently, the car accident involved a company laptop that was in the trunk. When IT recovered the data, they found. Well, let's just say they used the company chat system for things that definitely weren't pharmaceutical sales. She's on unpaid administrative leave pending investigation. So now she's injured, alone, possibly jobless, and her husband is taking the house. I should feel happy. I really should. But I just look at my kids sleeping on air mattresses at my mom's place and I want to scream. I built a life for 20 years and she blew it up for a guy named Gavin who wears hoodies to client meetings. Update 4. Final update for a while. The divorce is finalized. It took 6 months of hell, but it's done. I got the house. The judge was not impressed with Sarah's financial shenanigans. I had to buy her out of her share of the equity, But since we deducted the marital waste and factored in that I have majority custody, the payout was manageable. Sarah is living in a small apartment across town. She lost her job. Turns out, violating company ethics policies by expensing affair trips is a fireable offense. Who knew? She's working in retail now. It's a steep drop from her pharma salary. The kids stay with me 80% of the time. They visit her every other weekend. My son usually refuses to go. He's 18 now, so he can choose. He hasn't forgiven her for the trash talking she did about me. My daughter goes, but she says it's awkward. Sarah spends the whole time crying and playing the victim. Gavin and Elena are divorced. Elena got full custody of their kids because Gavin has unstable living conditions. He's living in his parents' basement. Last I heard, Sarah and Gavin tried to make a go of it officially. It lasted 3 weeks. Turns out, when you remove the thrill of the sneakiness, and you add in financial ruin, legal stress, and the reality that you're both shitty people, the spark dies pretty fast. Elena told me Gavin tried to crawl back to her. She laughed in his face. As for me? I'm painting the kitchen. The color I want. Navy blue cabinets. I started therapy. It's helping. I realized I spent years walking on eggshells, thinking I wasn't good enough or exciting enough. The gaslighting did a number on my head. I went on a date last week. Just coffee. Her name is Jessica. She's divorced too. We didn't talk about our exes, we talked about hiking and movies. It was nice. I didn't feel a spark, exactly, but I felt calm. I still have nightmares about the hospital. About the text message. Can't wait to be inside you. It echoes in my head sometimes when I'm trying to sleep. But then I wake up. I'm in my house. My kids are safe in their rooms. The coffee maker is set for 6 a.m. I'm 44. I'm starting over. It sucks, and it's lonely, and I'm tired. But I'm free. And Sarah? She texted me yesterday. I miss you. I miss us. The apartment is so cold. I looked at it. I thought about the woman I loved for 20 years. I thought about the nurse handing me the bag of personal effects. I deleted the thread. I didn't block her this time, I just don't care enough to bother. I put my phone down and went to finish painting the cabinets. Navy blue. It looks damn good. Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.